Hey everybody, and welcome back to an episode of Game Night Date Night. I am Melanie, and this episode is in collaboration with Games and Couples. And Games and Couples do couple counseling, utilizing a lot of board games as a tool to help couples come together, work on different aspects. And one of the things that they've actually done is they've created a rating system to help couples select which board game would suit their current needs. Now, this rating system will rate board games on three aspects. The first one is on conversation and connection potential. How much do you need for the board game to create an environment that would be good for holding a conversation? Maybe you play at the end of the game and that's how you guys come together to spend some quality time together. So having a game that allows a lot of conversation is probably best. Maybe things have been tense and things can flare up easily, so something that's a little bit lower in the conversation might be best for you. The next thing that we are rating on is on getting to know you. How much will be revealed from your partner as you play the game? Some games will, you gotta try to figure out how they think, or there's a lot of strategy to it, so you kind of see how they come up with their decision. While other games are very much, they do their own things, you do their own things, so there's not a whole lot of things being revealed while you play. And the final thing is potential for hurt feelings and conflict. A lot of games can take that element to it, or it's all geared towards getting one winner, unless it's cooperative, in which case you get a lot less of that. So every week I talk about a game that we kind of go through the rating system, and I kind of talk a little bit about the game. For the month of December, I concentrated on Christmas themed games. So the first one was Christmas lights. So let's look at the rating system and then I'll talk a little bit more about the game. So for conversation and connection potential, I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. In this game, you have cards in front of you that are actually facing away so you don't see. You have a couple of cards that are patterns of strings of lights, and you're trying to, by trading or kind of manipulating the cards, trying to recreate the string of lights pattern. It's a simple game. So on your turn, you'll trade cards, you'll put one down, see if it fits your pattern. So there's not a lot going on, so that it does allow a lot of opportunity to hold a conversation. In getting to know you, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 5. Mainly because you're kind of running blind here. So you don't have a lot of strategy that you're working towards. You're kind of just taking wild guess a lot of the times, and maybe you're trading cards like, hey, I really need the yellow bulb, so I'm going to trade with you and grab that yellow bulb, and realize that was a yellow bulb all along. This is just how you react. Kind of that type of information is interesting, but not super revealing in this game. For hurt feelings and conflict, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 5. It's fairly low. One thing that can happen, and I know last time I played this happened to me, you kind of sort the cards the way that okay, so I've traded for this, so I know this is the blue light bulb that I need, and I can put that in my string of light, and that's going to complete that pattern. And then the other player also needs that, and they ended up trading a card that you don't need for the blue light bulb that you did need, and that can create some frustration. This is what Christmas lights looks like. It is a small card game, so it doesn't take any place at all. Everything is just cards. You'll have pattern cards, you'll have the different light bulb cards, and then there's kind of different gifts and characters that'll do different things in the game. And this is a picture of last time I played this one. So as you can see, the cards with the blue back there, those are the cards that are facing away from me, so I don't know what those are. Now, I personally like to use a card holder. You don't have to. The game doesn't supply them. You just hold the cards away from you. But I just like using those for sorting the cards. I think especially with this game, that's very nice. Now, the next game that we talked about for the month of December is Holly Jolly. This one also very thematic, also a very small card game. Let's look at the rating. So conversation and connection potential, I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. This is a very simple strategy. It's kind of a set collection game, so it's very there's not a whole lot going on, a lot of things you got to kind of consider, so it does allow a lot of opportunity to hold a conversation. Getting to know you, 1 out of 5, because it is such a light game. It's not one that's going to reveal tons and tons from your partner either. Hurt feelings and conflict, 1 out of 5. You're very much playing your own thing. You're playing off the same card, but it's there's no conflict really in this game. This is what this game looks like. It has a very retro, old style Christmas art to it, which I really enjoy. Again, this is a very small card game, but once you set up on the table, it has a fairly big presence, and you'll notice it kind of builds a Christmas tree, and then you have the presents underneath. Now, when you're playing, you're really only going to be adding cards to the bottom 3 cards of that Christmas tree, and that's where you're going to put ornaments. So you're either going to add lights or you're going to add garland. And if you add, let's say I'm adding lights, then you're going to combine all the numbers of the lights in those 3 cards, and the number that it gives you is what you're going to collect. So you're going to look at the different ornaments that are in the tree, and it's like, okay, well, I've built up a 7, so I can take this card, which is a value of 7, and you add that to your set collection. Depending on the card, some will kind of, if you have the most, you'll have points, or some is the more you have, you'll gain points for that. So they all kind of score a little bit differently. And if you are kind of come to a total and there is no ornament matching that number, then you would go under the tree and pull out a present. So if it's like a smaller value, you're going to pull out from the one side. If it's a higher value, you pull out from the other side. It's just a neat, simple set collecting game that's just thematic in the way that it looks, and it's just kind of neat and pretty. The next game that I talked about is Dice Throne Santa versus Krampus. So Dice Throne has a huge series. We have Dice Throne Season 1 that has 8 different characters that are kind of Dungeons and Dragons characters. You have Dice Throne Season 2 that are more kind of modern type characters. Like you'll have the ninja, you'll have the cowgirl, you'll have the pirate, so you have kind of all of those type of characters in there. Then we have Dice Throne Marvel, which will have the Marvel characters, and they just kickstarted Dice Throne X-Men, so we have those coming out as well. This one came out, and it's Santa versus Krampus, so you have Santa battling against Krampus. It is so neat. The artwork is amazing. The game is Dice Throne, so you know it's good because it does have that same Dice Throne mechanism. So looking at the rating on this one, conversation, connection, potential, I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5. You can definitely hold a conversation, but there's a lot more to consider while you're playing. And even though you can hold a conversation, you tend to talk about the game anyways. Getting to know you, I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5. You have a bit more to consider, but you are at the mercy of the dice. So it depends on what you roll as to what you're going to be able to do. And then hurt feelings and conflict, I'm going to go 3 out of 5 as well. Now, because of that, this is a battle game. You're going to be attacked. Now, because this is a 1 versus 1 battle game, you should expect being attacked. So I think hurt feelings is a little bit lower because of that, but it is frustrating if you finally get all 6s, so you can activate your ultimate attack, and then the other player takes a card that changes one of your 6 into a 1 and just wrecks the whole thing. So there are some dice mitigation that can be frustrating, so keep that in mind. Now, this is what the game looks like. Now, the big battle chest, when you have like the full Season 1 and Season 2 and the Marvel one, is like a nice big one. This one is just the 2 characters that comes in a tiny little box, so it's a lot more manageable to kind of fit on your shelf. As I mentioned, the artwork is just amazing. This is the Santa character, so you have your main board, you have kind of like your information sheet for it. On the main board, you'll have the different attack that you can activate depending on the symbols or the numbers that you roll. And you'll have different abilities that you can activate. Santa has cheers and eggnog. That is tokens he can collect to kind of help in his attack. And then we have Krampus. Again, beautiful artwork. Krampus has coal that he'll be giving out, and he steals presents. And he also has what are called the rejects, and those are the rejected toys that aren't getting gifted for Christmas that you can kind of activate and give you special abilities. It's beautiful game, super fun to play. I quite enjoy this one. And then the last one I talked about for the month of December is Jokkmokk. This one is like, it's a beautiful, busy, and it's like a winter's market themed. So let's look at the rating. So conversation, connection, potential, I'm giving a 4 out of 5. This is a rondel set collecting game, so it's fairly simple. And you can definitely hold a conversation as you play. Getting to know you, I'm giving a 2 out of 5. First of all, because you're kind of keeping secret what strategy you're trying to do. So you're not going to be like blatant about your strategies because you're hoping they're not going to take the type of cards that you need. So there's not tons and tons that's getting revealed as you play. Hurt feelings and conflict, 1 out of 5. So this is a rondel. So you're going to go and move your worker. You have 2 workers and you move it to the cards that you want to collect. And then you get to collect that card. The space that you just left gets refilled. Now that particular meeple cannot go backwards. You've kind of skipped over those other cards. You do have the other meeple that might come along and pick up a few more. So you can kind of go as far ahead as you want to get the cards you really like, or you can kind of like tag along and pick up some of the little cards towards the end, and depending on what you collect, there's some that was like treats and coffee, so every combination of treat and coffee gave you 4 points. Some is bells, so the player that has the most of different colored bells score a certain amount of points. You have the tapestry that you're building a pattern and you're going to be putting things together. And from what I understand, the cards that are pulled out every time is going to change every time. You play the day phase and you go to the night phase, and then there's scoring in between, and then there's final scoring. Very simple, super pretty. The artwork is neat. This is the cover of the box, so Jokkmokk, the Winter's Market. Like I said, it's like it's a very colorful artwork, and it's kind of really neat. And then the cards have that similar style as well. So you'll have the board that'll have all the cards around that you'll be adding to. You have the meeples that move along. You have tokens that kind of keeps track when you guess bonus points, and then the final scoring at the end. And this is a picture of when I played this game, and we played it just after Christmas. It was just such a neat thematic game to play for the holiday and the winter season. And that was it for the games that we covered over the month of December. So be sure to follow us on Instagram at Mel's_boardgame_room and Games and Couples. We're also on Facebook under Mel's Board Game Room and Games and Couples Love in the Age of Board Game, and also our YouTube channel Mel's Board Game Room and Games and Couples Love in the Age of Board Game. Bye everybody.